Hello everyone, this is Cheryl with Architect Destiny, where we're building dreams, making plans, and reaching goals. Thanks so much for tuning into my channel for another video. Welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you are part of my YouTube family, then welcome back. I have kind of a different video for you today. I was approached by Parkoo shops and asked if I would try their gel pens, their fast drying gel pens, and I agreed to do that. I was happy to give them a try. I love pens and I'm always looking for new things to try. So they sent me this pack of 20 gel pens in the mail, and I agreed to give them an honest review of the product. This package has 20 gel pens. It's noted that they are fast drying, less smearing. We're going to see about that in just a little bit. These are 0.5 millimeter pens, which is my size of choice. So yeah, I've got a pack of 20 pens here, and we're going to test them out in my Hobonichi and see how they work. This pack of pens contains 2 red, 6 blue, and 12 black. So there are lots of pens in here, and I've already shared some of them with my husband, so the box isn't exactly full anymore, but I do have most of the pens still in here. Oops, they kind of shifted a little bit, but yeah, there's a red and black and several blue ones. I really don't use blue pens. So I definitely gave my husband one of those, and I gave him one of the red ones, and then I gave him one of the black ones too. So all the rest of the pens are in here. I'm going to pull out a black one, and what I'm going to do, since I use a Hobonichi Cousin, which has Tomoe River paper, I'm going to focus my review on how this pen performs on the Tomoe River paper in the Hobonichi. Now, if you have other types of planners and use different types of papers, I really am not an expert on the different types and weights of paper, so this review may not apply to you if you use anything other than a planner that has Tomoe River paper. So I'm just going to give that disclaimer up front. So I'm going to be strictly dealing with how this gel pen performs in the Hobonichi Cousin. I'm going to just kind of turn to my pen test page back here. And as you can see, I've got some other things in here too. But I'm going to compare this to a couple of other popular gel pens. My previous favorite in my ring planner was the Papermate Ink Joy Gel in the 0.05. I really loved this pen on a nice 28-pound paper because I used to print out my inserts when I was in my ring-bound planner, and this was just a beautifully, wrote beautifully on the paper in my ring planner. So I'm going to see, or I already know how this works in my Hobonichi because I've tried it, but I'm going to just kind of do this with you so that you can see how the Papermate performs as opposed to another popular pen that people use in their planners, the Pilot G2. This is a 0.38. This just happens to be one of my son's favorite pens. I personally don't use this pen, but he likes it. I just grabbed one off out of his room off the desk, and it's like, well, I know lots of people in the planner community like this pen, so we will test this one out as well compared to the Parkoo Fast Dry Gel Pen. So without further ado, let's just kind of see, let's do the smudge test first. And I'm just going to write my name, and then immediately after I write my name, well, I won't write my name, I'll write the type of pen so we can kind of keep track of what we're looking at. So I'm going to write Parkoo 5 millimeter and see what happens when I try to smear it right after I write it. Wow, okay. We're not liking this pen in the Hobonichi, okay? We're not doing gel pens in the Hobonichi. So I'm going to take the Paper Mate Ink Joy and do the same thing. All right, we're getting the same result here with all of the gel pens. This is the Pilot G2. Okay, the Pilot G2 did a decent job. I mean, it's a finer point pen, so I think it kind of distributes less ink on the paper and therefore dries a little faster. And you can see definitely a difference in the fineness of the point by the way it writes and takes on the paper. The Parkoo pen did not score very well on the Tomoe River paper. I'm going to give it another test and see if I just wait a few minutes how it works. Not a few minutes, but maybe a few seconds. I'm just going to wait a few seconds and see what happens if I give it just a little bit of time to dry. And I won't really test this against the other two any further because as you can see for the, I gave it several seconds to dry and we're still getting some smearing, as you can see here at the very end of the word. And even just a tad bit across here. So I did give it probably about 15 seconds maybe to dry. So, you know, I guess you could go with this pen if you're a patient person and you are just willing to give it a few seconds before you touch it or highlight over it or, you know, turn the page or anything in case it smears on the opposite page. So, you know, I think it could work for you if you, like I said, if you're willing to wait a little bit for it to dry. What I also want to test is how well it holds up to using a highlighter. I'm going to grab my Morris retractable highlighter in the gray, and I'm going to see what happens. Now, it's been probably about 30 or 40 seconds now because I've been talking for a while. What happens when I highlight over it? Okay, we've given it plenty of time to dry, and this highlighter highlighted just fine over it. Let's try it again. I'm just going to write Parkoo this time, and I'm going to give it a few seconds to dry, and then I'm going to highlight over it again so that you can see. The other thing you could do if you did not want to wait for it to dry before you highlight is to highlight first. I know a lot of people do that, and then write over it. That seems to work just fine, to highlight first and write over it. Of course, you still are going to have to wait for it to dry before you know, do anything or rub your hand over it or whatever, because you'll probably get a nice little smudge there if you don't wait. But okay, we've let this one dry. I'm going to see what happens when I highlight over it. Okay, I probably waited about 15 or 20 seconds, not 30 or 40 seconds. And I did get some smearing there on this one. So my feeling is that in general, gel pens do not work the best on the Tomoe River paper. It's very buttery and smooth and delicate and wonderful to write on, but you're going to have to be patient with it if you want to use your gel pens. And gel pens are beautiful. I love them. I love the way they write, how thick and velvety the print is when you write with them. And this is a good quality pen as far as the way it writes. It feels good on the paper. I am partial to big fat pens, as you can see. This is my Uni Jetstream 4-in-1 pen. It's much bigger than this. I like more weighty pens. The weightier it is, the more I like it. This is very lightweight, very slimline. This would be good in planners that have a very tight pen holder on your binder. Some planners do, like I know the Gilios seem to have kind of a smaller pen loop. The Maldens tend to have, from what I've seen, a smaller pen loop. And so this pen is very thin and light, so it probably would fit very well into one of those types of binders with a small pen loop. I have a very big pen loop, 2 big pen loops on this cover that I have on my Hobonichi, so having a big pen is not a problem for me. But if you're the type of person who wants to have a pen in your planner and you have a very small pen loop, this pen would be a nice fit. And like I said, it writes really nicely. I'm just not the type of person that wants to take chances on whether my pen is going to smear on my paper. I may not be consciously waiting until my pen dries before I touch my paper or brush my hand across it. You really have to be focused in on the fact that I'm not trying to smear my pen. Other than that, I think it might be very easy to do that on this paper. Again, I'll say, like I said in the beginning, because I use a Hobonichi Cousin, I'm strictly reviewing this pen's performance in my Hobonichi Cousin on the Tomoe River paper. This pen probably is a perfectly wonderful choice for another type of paper. So I will link these pens down below in the description box if you want to order some and give them a try. And you may really love them in your planner on the type of paper that you use. And like I said, you could make it work in the Hobonichi. If you see, I've given that plenty of time to dry, where I highlighted first and then wrote with the pen, and I gave it plenty of time to dry. It's fine. It looks perfectly beautiful. It's not too thick of a line. It's not too thin. The 0.5 is very nice. And it looks fine. There's absolutely no smearing after you give it a good bit of drying time. But if you're not patient, you may have some issues with smudging with this pen. Look on the other side of the paper. There's a little bit of ghosting as well. But I just think, like I said, the Tomoe River paper is just very thin and delicate, almost like Bible paper. In its consistency. And so with this very velvety gel pen ink, you're going to get a little ghosting on the other side. If that doesn't bother you, then again, you should be fine. But I think, if you're going to be writing on both sides of the paper and you have this on the other side, it's going to be kind of a little distracting, I would think. So, yeah, I think that's a good bit of ghosting there with the highlight and everything. So, yeah, I think, and I guess you're probably looking at my mild liners and such and saying there's some ghosting there too. But I really don't, it really doesn't seem to bother me. Let's look at my, one of my pages back in my planner and see what we've got with that. Just for comparison's sake with the ghosting. You can see this is like a weekly page from back in June. There's nothing on this side, so you can kind of see that there's some ghosting, but I never really, it doesn't bother me like in the heart of my planner. Like I can see, well, I don't really highlight on my monthlies, but yeah, you can kind of, if I flip through my planner, I highlight on all the pages, and you know, you can barely even see that once I've written over it. So all that to say, this may not be an issue as far as, you know, the ghosting on the other side. Once you start writing on this, it may be like, you know, my planner, my weeklies, where, you know, everything just kind of flows together. It's not really that much of a distraction from page to page. It really isn't. I mean, you can kind of see the ghosting a little bit, but it's not a distraction. So yeah, that's just kind of my feedback on this pen. Like I said, I'll link it below if you want to give it a try. Just check it out. They're not very expensive, if I recall. It's a nice little pen. It would fit very nicely in a smaller pen loop. It writes beautifully. It just takes a while to dry. And if you have time on your hands, it will eventually dry, and it looks very nice. So with that in mind, if you have any questions for me or any comments about this review, feel free to leave them in the comments section. And again, I'll link this for you if you want to give these pens a try. Thank you so much to Parkoo Shops for sending these to me. I really appreciate it. And I'm definitely going to share them with my friends. You sent me an abundance of pens. I'm going to share them with my friends, and hopefully you'll get some new customers out of that. People just, you know, falling in love with your gel pens. So thank you so much again, Parkoo, and thank you all, YouTube family, for tuning in for this video. If you have not checked out any of my other videos yet, I am a functional planner, and I have quite a few videos out there on my page for you to look at. Plan with me videos, haul videos, flip through videos. Please take a look. If you enjoy my content, feel free to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so that you will be able to get all of my future videos, that you won't miss anything. And if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. We'll see you in my next video. Bye.